Hey everybody, John Randall here with an exciting announcement. A Daily Walk now has its own channel. If you're enjoying these devotions, if you like the podcast, you want to share the link with somebody else, I encourage you to just type in A Daily Walk with John Randall and you can be a part of this journey with us. Send a link to somebody else who might want to be encouraged by this. Subscribe, leave comments, etc. Look forward to continuing to put out content that'll encourage you in your walk with the Lord. God bless. Happy Thursday, friends. Welcome back to A Daily Walk right here in our Daily Walk studio with my fellas, my guys filming. You know who they are? Micah and Nate. It's on record now. You know who they are. They're a blessing. They help make this happen. And a whole host of other people that are a part of bringing this to you. And they're as much a part of it as I am. So we're just glad to be here and to serve you here on this Thursday, going through the letter to the Galatians. Paul has been writing to a group of people that he loved, and man, when he first encountered them, they embraced him, they welcomed him. It was such a blessing. They had a great relationship, and Paul moved on to plant other churches, and right behind him came other people that tried to destroy what Paul had built. And what makes it sad is that many of the people that Paul loved and had invested in and labored with had actually listened and gone back to old things and came under the law, and we're losing sight of the simplicity and the blessing of just knowing Jesus and walking with him and being children of God. And so Paul had to write. And one of the things that he said, and we considered it last time, but I just want to hit it one more time because we closed with it. He said in verse 16, just draw your attention again. He said, "Have I therefore become your enemy because I tell you the truth?" Sometimes we get put in a situation where God makes us aware of a circumstance in somebody's life that requires us to go to them and to confront them in love. Paul would say later on that, brethren, if anyone, actually it was James said, if anyone among you is overtaken in some sin, some trespass, you who are spiritual seek to restore such a one in a spirit of gentleness. Like, go to them. And you can do that, and it may be received or it may not be received. Nobody likes confrontation. Well, some people do, and those are the people you want to avoid. But most of us, we don't want to confront. We don't want to get into it with somebody. We don't want to be judgmental or have them think we're judging them. But there's times when you really love somebody, you have to be willing to say things that are sometimes difficult to say. And you always say them with love. So Paul came to the Galatians and he's telling them the truth. And yet they started to see him as an enemy because he told them what they needed to hear. And then he just makes a comparison between himself and those who came in and they received. And notice what he says in verse 17. He said, they, and that is a reference to those that were coming in and pulling down what Paul had built up. They zealously court you, but for no good. Yes, they want to exclude you, that you may be zealous for them. In other words, Paul said, you know these people that are coming in that you're listening to? Let me just tell you this. They have an ulterior motive. There's something behind what they're doing. They want something from you. They're not there to impart something to you. They're there to get something from you. You know, they want to be your friend because of what you can do for them. Hey, man, how you doing? Hey, come on, let's bring it in. Hey, what's going on? Hey, let's be friends. You know, there's a motive. And you got to be able to be discerning in the days in which we're living. You got to be able to read the room. What's behind that? Now, you don't want to be suspicious of every single person. But, you know, if you're discerning and filled with the Spirit, oftentimes if somebody comes, you think, something's not right. And, you know, one of the ways I think is good to be able to recognize it, you ready for this? Flattery. Oh, flattery can be dangerous. Someone said flattery is like perfume. The idea is to sniff it, not swallow it, and make you sick. And somebody comes in and, you know, just pumps you up and tells you how amazing you are, and you're like, oh, I really like them. Why do you like them? Because they tell me how great I am. Sometimes, you know, there's an ulterior motive behind it. They want something from you. They zealously court you. Maybe that's a word for some ladies watching today. Listen, there's some dudes out there that will zealously court you, but they got an ulterior motive. Watch out for that. Don't give in to that. Are they godly? Do they love the Lord? Well, they're super spiritual. I don't think so. Be careful. Watch out. Men, you do the same thing. Be careful. Paul said they zealously court you. But the point is they want to exclude you that you can be zealous for them. They want something from you. But then he says in verse 18, it's good to be zealous for good things always. Hey, listen, it's good to have passion and pursuit of things that are good. I get it. I'm not saying that's not a good thing. But what he is saying is not only to be zealous in good things always, and not only when I'm present with you. And then he just has a heartfelt comment like a father to his children when he says in verse 19, my little children. Paul saw himself as really like a father in the faith to these people. He was the one that led them to the Lord. And so he saw it like this. He discipled them. He said, my little children, for whom I labor in birth again until Christ be formed in you, till Christ is formed in you. Paul saw himself as both father and mother in the sense that, these people were born again. They were born of the Spirit. Paul was there. He watched them be born again spiritually. He said, I watched it. I labored in your midst, and I got to see you be born. Enter into relationship with Jesus. But now I feel like I'm having to labor all over again. Go through the labor pains that we already went through this. Now I'm having to do it all over again until Christ will be formed in you. Like, I'm having to repeat everything we already did this. And that was difficult for Paul. Imagine just working and laboring and seeing this thing accomplished only to come back to square. It's like everything's leveled and we're back down to the bottom. It's like they just destroyed the whole building and we're at foundation again. And now we have to rebuild. All the expense, all the labor, all the sweat, all of it, we're starting over. That's how Paul felt when it came to these believers in Galatia, in the direction that they were going. In verse 20, he said, I would like to be present with you now and to change my tone, for I have doubts about you. It's very honest. He said, I wish that I was there. I wish that I could see you face to face rather than write you a letter. I would love to sit down and dialogue, and I'd love to change my tone. What Paul was saying in this letter, you can read between the lines. There were some pretty difficult things he was having to say. He said, I wish I didn't have to write this. But he said, the problem is I have doubts about you. I'm very concerned for you. Friend, listen, if there's people that you're concerned about or you have doubts about, go to them. Speak to them the truth in love. Come alongside of them. Reach out to them today. And allow the Lord to use you. You're not coming in judging them. You're coming in trying to reach them. Be available for the Lord today. God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow.